Greetings, fellow captains. Our previous episodes taught you to maneuver and fire primary armament. Now it's time to tell you about torpedoes, a formidable weapon in skillful hands. For example, a single torpedo hit from Tier 8 destroyer Kagero will sink any destroyer in the game, and 3 hits will easily destroy a Tier 10 cruiser or aircraft carrier. And Kagero can launch 8 torpedoes in one salvo. Today we'll discuss all the details of this dangerous armament. A torpedo is a self-propelled underwater projectile carrying from 440 pounds to 1,650 pounds of explosives. It hits the enemy ship below the waterline, puncturing the hull and causing flooding. A single, well-aimed torpedo salvo may destroy several ships. Press 3 to switch to torpedo tubes. The torpedo armament's reticle looks unusual. The dark green semicircles represent the firing arcs on both sides of the ship. The bright green cone shows the direction and width of torpedo spread. The reticle is yellow when torpedo tubes are reloading. Please note that once you launch torpedoes, they will not move parallel to one another. They will spread at a certain angle instead. In World of Warships, you're able to select 2 spread angles, wide and narrow. You can switch between them by pressing 3. The narrow spread should be used at short distances, when you are sure that the majority of your torpedoes will hit the target. The large spread increases your chance of hitting the enemy with at least 1 torpedo, but the rest of them will probably miss. Moreover, you risk damaging an allied ship. Choosing the correct target lead for a torpedo salvo is not an easy task. That's why we added the automatic calculation of lead of a selected enemy. Aim the reticle at a ship and press X. An additional grey reticle sector will appear. To launch torpedoes at the selected target, align the bright green sector with the grey one and click the left mouse button. But will the torpedoes hit the enemy? To learn the answer, we must first study some specifics of this armament. First of all, the torpedo armament of ships in World of Warships varies, not only by the number of torpedo tubes, but by the performance capabilities of the torpedoes themselves. Let's start with effective range, because that's the parameter that imposes the most essential restriction on the use of this type of armament. In the low tiers, torpedoes have a range of just 2.4 miles, and they only have a slim chance of hitting a distant target. At the same time, as you are getting close to torpedo range of the target, you might be destroyed by the fire from enemy ships' primary guns, which will have a much longer effective range. Try sneaking up on the enemy from behind an island or under the cover of a smokescreen. A reverse situation is also possible. You approach an enemy ship and launch a full broadside at point-blank range. It seems impossible for you to miss, and yet the enemy sails away unharmed. The problem is that the torpedo reticle does not start right at your ship's side. Torpedo fuses need some time after launching to arm, making it impossible to fire torpedoes at point-blank range. The edge of the green firing arc closest to the side of your ship marks the minimum distance that torpedoes must travel before arming. Torpedo speed is the next limiting factor. Low-tier torpedoes travel at 49 knots, tens of times slower than any shell. An enemy could easily evade your salvo, especially if it's a light cruiser or destroyer. And the price of a miss is considerably higher than with artillery fire. Torpedoes are huge. They may have a length of 23 feet and weigh up to 2 tons. The large dimensions make the reloading process difficult and slow. It may take anywhere from 20 seconds to 3 minutes. Therefore, you should choose slow targets with poor maneuverability, such as battleships and aircraft carriers, as well as enemy ships caught in a firefight with your allies. Despite the fact that high-tier torpedoes have ranges up to 11 miles and their speed can reach almost 70 knots, the success of your salvo depends largely on calculating the right moment of launch. Destroyers and cruisers armed with torpedo tubes are very dangerous, but a deadly attack may be also launched from the air by torpedo bombers. Stay tuned for the following episode to learn more. Greetings, fellow captains. In our previous episodes, we told you how to maneuver, fire your main guns, and use torpedoes. In this episode, we'll talk about controlling naval aviation, the very same aviation that put an end to the dominance of battleships and revolutionized naval warfare. When playing an aircraft carrier, you control not so much the ship as its squadrons, and the aircraft really give you the edge. They have unlimited operating range, high speed, and the ability to cause heavy damage. With them, you can attack a ship hiding on the other side of an island, and if you fail, you only risk losing the squadron instead of your whole ship. On the other hand, losing all of your aircraft makes your ship a sitting duck. This is why we'll explain not only how to use the squadrons efficiently, but also how to keep them alive. The squadrons in World of Warships differ in types of weapons used and, consequently, in target objects. Torpedo bombers and bombers are strike aircraft designed to attack enemy ships, while fighters are made for dogfights. To select a squadron, click on the squadron's icon or press the corresponding numeric key. To order the squadron to take off, select a point on the map or the mini-map, or the target you want to attack, and click the left mouse button. To make the camera move around the battlefield quickly, click the right mouse button on the selected sector of the mini-map. To switch between squadrons, use the numeric keys 2 through 7. The call sign for the squadron will correspond to its numeric key.
5. Awaiting instructions.
The icon of the selected squadron becomes bigger. The number under the icon is highlighted in green, and the squadron's route is displayed. To take the camera to the squadron, double-press the numeric key corresponding to the squadron's number. Press and hold the key to follow the squadron. To switch to the overview camera mode, press Shift or Z.
Approaching target.
To switch back, press the key again or press Escape. Depending on the aircraft carrier tier, you can have up to 6 squadrons airborne. You can make controlling squadrons easier by selecting several squadrons. There are 3 ways to do that: by clicking and holding the left mouse button, by holding Shift and pressing the corresponding numeric keys, or by holding Shift and clicking the squadron's icons. To select all airborne squadrons, use Control A. Press 1 or click the aircraft carrier icon to go back to ship control mode. Similar to the autopilot that we discussed in detail in the first episode of the Naval Academy. Now that your aircraft are airborne and the target has been selected, it's time to check the route. Remember that unless you tell them otherwise, squadrons take the shortest path to their targets. If you fly over enemy ships en route, the enemy's anti-aircraft guns can slash the number of your planes significantly. Your primary goal is to keep your plane safe up until the attack, because if you reach your target with only 1 torpedo bomber, you will only have 1 torpedo to use instead of the full salvo from the whole squadron. To keep your squadron safe, give them a detailed route, much the same way as you use the autopilot function for ships. Press and hold Shift to specify up to 5 additional waypoints, which can be moved around if necessary. A strike squadron carries enough ammunition for 1 attack only. After you have attacked the enemy, your planes will automatically go back to the aircraft carrier to reload. Again, by default, they use the shortest path. An experienced adversary can use this path to calculate the location of your ship. Therefore, you should also manually give them a return route. Even though the squadron can no longer attack on the way back to your carrier, they can still make themselves useful to your allies by spotting enemy ships. When is taking off, the latter has the priority. However, it is important to remember that when your flight deck is on fire, planes won't be able either to land or to take off. When your aircraft are back on your ship, they automatically resupply ammunition. In addition, destroyed planes are automatically replaced with new ones from the hangar, provided you have any left. When planning your movements, don't forget to add the time required to fly to the combat zone to the time required for the reload. The farther your aircraft carrier is from the combat zone, the more time your squadrons will need to get to the target, and, consequently, the fewer flights they will make, and the less useful they will be to your team. To use your squadrons with maximum efficiency, plot your carrier's course carefully. Your course should prevent you from being spotted, but at the same time, should not take you too far away from your allies in the combat zone. In the next episode, we'll focus on the different classes of aircraft and the right tactics for each of them.
fire! Welcome! You're now entering World of Warships. In the co-op battle mode, you'll fight your first battles together with other players against ships controlled by the artificial intelligence. Select a ship from the port and click the battle button. But that's only the beginning. Soon you'll face other players on the battlefield. Full speed ahead to your first victories.